Rome, the eternal city, is dead. Well, let me explain. You're probably dreaming of gelato-filled strolls through ancient ruins. Well, 2025 might not be the year to live out your Roman holiday fantasy. Stick with me, I'll show you what's going on in Rome this year and how you can outsmart the chaos and still enjoy the dolce vita. I want to explain what's going on this year and why you might want to avoid Rome. It's the Catholic Jubilee, or what's called the Jubilee of Hope, and that happens once every 25 years. It's estimated to be bringing in an extra 20 million tourists to a city that's already seen its fair share of tourism. Think New York City, Times Square at New Year's Eve, except cobblestones and a gelato melting in your hand. Hotels, well, they'll be sold out or overpriced. Restaurants, long lines where even the simplest meal will test your patience. It's like going to see a rock show if you're trying to visit the Colosseum and the Vatican, except everybody has front row seats and you're fighting to get a good view. It's gonna be crazy. Rome may be eternal, but your patience, it isn't. All right, so 2025 is gonna be nuts, but does that mean you should skip Rome? No way. I'm gonna walk you through 5 tips that could make it a game changer for you when you visit Rome, or in fact any place all throughout Europe or anywhere in the world. I'm right now in Bangkok. I love this city, here the capital of Thailand. But I think these tips specifically applied to Rome, and specifically with the Catholic Jubilee, will help wake Rome from its deathbed. Now, number 1 tip, and I recommend this with any city in the world, is advance planning. Yes, if you want to visit those big attractions, well, plan in advance. Book your tickets weeks, months in advance. I'm talking for the big ticket items like the Colosseum or the Vatican. Also consider guided tours with skip the line access. That way you'll be going in there like a VIP. You'll be gliding into Rome like a gladiator in charge. The other thing I recommend, and again, this is something I recommend if you're visiting here in Bangkok, if you're visiting Florence, Paris, or Chicago, another one of my recommendations will go off the beaten path. Don't go where every tourist always goes. Go somewhere quieter and enjoy something that all your friends aren't already talking about, and you can go home with great stories. So what does that mean? One thing you can do in Rome, which is just south of Circus Maximus, is Aventino Hill. That's one of those beautiful hills with ancient ruins that not that many tourists go see. Another thing, the Terme, or the Baths of Caracalla. There again, near Circus Maximus, but without all the crowds. And you're gonna have this place and the other place kind of to yourself, while everybody's over there at Trevi Fountain trying to get selfies with the fountain in the background. You're gonna be sipping an espresso in peace and quiet. Now, timing is going to be everything. This is my 3rd of 5 tips, timing. What that means is consider seeing those places you want to see early in the morning or late at night. And late at night, well, something that one of you, my viewers, told me is that they went to the Uffizi Gallery, the art gallery there in Florence, zipped in there at 5:30 or something, 30 minutes right before closing, I forget the closing time, and was able to have most of the gallery to themselves, going right in there, snap at the last minute, and the place is all yours. The other thing is when you're dining, well, consider going at American dining times. Go there at 6 p.m. if the restaurant's already open that early. Usual dining times in Italy are, say, 7:30, maybe 8 o'clock, all the way in Rome to, say, 11 p.m. The other thing, number 3, stay outside the city center. This means you're gonna save a bit of money and you're gonna save your sanity. Think a beautiful Airbnb out in one of the far neighborhoods where you have all that space and all those views instead of an overpriced hotel. And the number 5 rule I want you to apply when you're visiting Rome or any big city, oh, look at this. We're right here in the center of Rome. We're in this, Bangkok, sorry, Rome's on my mind. We're right here in the center of Bangkok. Beautiful park over there, one of these chic malls. Bangkok has all these beautiful malls. Right in the heart of the center, we have a beautiful park here. Sky rises all around us as well. All right, number 5, what I want you to apply is wake up early. And it's sort of like rule number 3, but this is underlining it and going back, circling back and really underlining it, because I want you to do this. And I can remember back in 2020, maybe 2021, right in the thick of COVID, my ex-girlfriend and I, we visited Rome, and she was intent on getting up early to go out there early and get all those great photos. I wasn't so keen, but afterwards I was glad she drugged me out of bed. I think maybe 5:30 in the morning. I was a bit tired, but later I thought, oh, that was worth it, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. Getting out there at 5:30 in the morning, right before sunrise, you're gonna have like the Spanish Steps and the Trevi Fountain all to yourselves like we did. We were able to snap some photos there on the Spanish Steps with no one around. Then we made our way over to the Trevi Fountain. Again, no one around, maybe just a couple of other people. It was great. Sure, it was during the time of COVID, but it still applies to yourself. You're gonna be able to see some of those places, and it's gonna feel like you have Rome all to yourself. So believe me, you may miss out on a couple of hours sleep, but it's worth it. And this can be applied in San Francisco, it can be applied in Florence or Paris, any of the big cities you visit. And I want to circle back to the hotels and where you book, because I want you to avoid those big chain hotels, especially when you're visiting Rome in 2025, and maybe for any other year as well, because that's where those big tour groups stay. The tour operators, they pack in those tour groups to the big chain hotels. So maybe you have discount points or something like that, but avoid staying in those chain hotels, those big ones, because they're gonna be crowded with a whole bunch of tour groups, and I don't want you to do that. A lot of this is in my e-guide that I've put out about traveling around Italy. You can have it offline, on your phone, in your pocket, for when you're planning or for when you're on the ground in Italy. It has things like where to stay, what to do, how to get around Italy, how to get to and from Italy, restaurant food recommendations. It's all packed in there. Also, for free, you can sign up to my regular email newsletter with all sorts of travel tips and hacks. Things like Rome during the Jubilee. A lot of you have written in and asked me, hey, Gregor, should I skip Rome in 2025 and wait until next year or a year on? No, don't. And that's why I wanted to make this video for you. Rome is always going to be worth the trip, I think. And if you've been, it's probably worth another time around as well. And if you haven't, trust me, it's worth it. It's just that in 2025, or in fact in any year you visit, you need to plan to outsmart the chaos, embrace the local side of life, and find those off-beaten path adventures. Make it your own Roman holiday. Do you remember at the start of the video when I said maybe 2025 is not the year to visit? Rome is dead. Well, with these 5 tips, I think you're gonna be able to really embrace another side of Rome you haven't yet heard of or you haven't yet seen, and just find out Rome is truly alive and kicking. Now, if you're there in the Eternal City, well, I'm sure you're gonna be hungry as well. You're gonna be wanting to chow down on some of that great pasta, which is why I made a whole video about some of the best pasta in the entire world. Yes, pasta carbonara. You can watch the video here next. Okay, I'm gonna go enjoy the park now.